Hello, true believers. This is bebotsonly, and I am doing a voiceover commentary over the drone footage. Now, the drone footage doesn't have any sound, so there's two things that I'm doing. One is I added some background music, which you can hear in the background, which I decreased the volume on, so it's just faint background music. So I'm trying to mix what is good sound for this video. So I used the DJI app to add the music, and I just kind of used their generic music in the background. I don't know if YouTube's gonna strike it or not based on the music, but it was already in the app, so I just went ahead and used that. You could import your own music, but I didn't have any music to at the time to use, so I just used what was already in their library. So next is what I'm adding over here using iMovie is doing a voiceover using my iPhone through the iMovie. And as you can see, so far this is my first time using this and recording the voiceover. So excuse me if it sounds terrible. I'm just experimenting with it. So the first thing you'll notice is that we are at Binyan Stadium, and we're at football training again. And I'm just trying out the drone for the first time. And you can see that it's kind of I'm just using this and I'm getting used to the controls. The controls work in 3 different dimensions: the left stick and then the right stick. The left stick controls the rotation. If you turn right, it will rotate right. If you turn left, it will rotate left. Now, if you push forward, the drone will go up higher in altitude. And if you push down, I think, no, wait, I have it the other way around. If you pull on the stick, on the left stick, it'll go higher. And if you push forward, it will go lower. And if you keep doing that, it will land. See, as you can see, it's takes me a while to get used to the controls. It's like playing a video game. So that's what the left joystick controller does. And then there's also another wheel on the top of the controller, which controls the angle of the camera. So you can have it point down 90 degrees, so you can go straight up and it will look exactly down. So those are the kind of nice features. So that's another control. So that's like the third control, or another control. So now the right stick control, that controls the direction. If you want it to go forward, you push forward. If you want it to go left, strafe left, you push left. So right, backwards. So that's pretty easy to use. The confusing part is just the left stick, and it's easy to get disoriented because you're looking forward, but the drone might be looking at a different angle. So you're trying to navigate it and pilot it through the phone, or through the angle of the camera angle of the drone. So what's nice about it is that it's stable. It's very stable. It stabilizes itself. It'll stay in one position and it won't float all over the place. It automatically trims itself. Versus before, early drones, it's just a struggle keeping them steady in one place. You have to do all these adjustments, and a lot of the times that's what causes it to crash. Not with this drone. If you just tell it to press a button, it'll start flying, and it'll stay there until you give it instructions, and it will keep its position. So it's very good about keeping steady. The only downside is it's not, the motion is not very smooth. Once it stops, it's like kind of an abrupt stop, and then once it goes, there's really no in between. I tried to kind of play around with it a little bit, like in between, but it just kind of stops and goes. So once you go through one motion, once you're, it pretty much will has one speed. The turning has one speed. The going forward has one speed. I don't know if I'm doing it incorrectly, but there's really no half speed in between. So that all of a sudden you kind of find yourself stopping. So I don't know if I'm used to, maybe it'll take more time for me to get used to the controls. So, but like I said, at least it's stable. I don't know how else to describe it. Once I start moving it, then it has like there's no in between speed. It's just like go right away. It's just like go and stop, go and stop. There's no transition for it to just kind of slowly stop. All of a sudden it'll stop or turn abruptly. If you look at when I turn the camera, it'll just like turn and then stop. So I don't know, or maybe I'm doing it wrong where I can't get it to just turn smoothly without it being really abrupt, as you could see. So and some other things as you can see, the drone is pretty clear. So for the most part, it does exactly what you expect it to do. You fly it, it takes video, it takes high quality video, you point it in this direction, you want it to go up, you want it to go down, you want it to go to right, you want it to go left. It does everything you tell it to do. So that's the great thing about it, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. So now the things that I probably wish it could be improved on is, I already said, maybe if there was like a half speed versus just stop and go, especially with the turning, as you can see. Maybe like a half speed in between, so it'll kind of slow down or turn slowly and stop slowly instead of like turning really fast and then stop abruptly. Maybe if there's like a way for it to kind of turn and then stop slowly, so just much more smoother. But I can't complain that much because it actually is very responsive. The response is instant. There's really no delay. Not the delay where it would be bothersome. So once you turn it, you almost see the response is almost instantaneous. So that's what's good about it. The only thing was maybe if I have steadier hands, maybe it will be smoother, slower movements, as you can see. So here I'm doing like this turn. Is there a way of like turning around like that without being so fast? Maybe slowing it down. Maybe during the editing you could edit it so it'll slow down, so put it like at half speed. But it would probably help if you don't crank it all the way in one direction, maybe half the push or turn, maybe it'll turn slower, so transition slower. So that's kind of being picky. So it's minor. So some other things that I probably want to point out is that I wish the camera had zoom. Now you could, if you want to, you could zoom in right on the subject that you're interested in. But sometimes I don't want it to be too close. I don't want the drone right in their face because it would be too distracting. It would be nice I'm sure other drones have zoom, but this particular model doesn't have zoom, or I don't see zoom. But it does have the elevated and to point it, so it'll point down, so you have like a bird's eye view. So that's what's good about it. And maybe zoom, just a little bit of zoom, so I don't have to get the camera right into people's faces, because it could be distracting. They could be kind of like looking at, dang, this drone is really right up in my face. But if you kind of zoom, then you could beat off at a distance or at a height that it's not going to be a distraction, and also not so low that it'll get accidentally hit by the ball or accidentally hit the goalpost. So I could zoom in, but I have to get the drone right closer if I wanted to zoom. Versus if I just have some kind of maybe 3 to 5 times optical zoom, I think that's possible. Then I can safely record from a safe height where I'm not too close to the action, where I could accidentally hit the ball or hit the goalpost in this situation. So that's another minor complaint, but I think maybe the other drones, the more higher end drones, have more features, including zoom. So a nice 3 to 5 times optical zoom would be nice if they could put that in a cell phone. I don't see why they can't put that in a drone. So that's probably my other complaint about, but somebody could tell me wrong. They could say, no, that was only the DJI Mini SE has a zoom. You just don't know how to use it. Oh, okay, maybe through the app you could just kind of pinch it and zoom in on the subject itself, and some of the video quality kind of deteriorates. So zoom. Does it have a zoom? Could it use a zoom? It would be nice if it had a zoom. So that's one minor complaint. The next is that I probably want to point out is I only have one battery, and the battery, depending on how much you're turning and twisting and moving around, lasts about 20 to 25 minutes. And when it's on the 20th, like I use it the second day today, right when there's like low battery or critical battery, the alarm starts going off and you start to panic. It's like, crap, how do I, then you have to like navigate this thing home. I don't know where the home button, there's a home button, but I haven't used it. I just go, oh, you know what, I manually brought it back home. I always kind of kept the line of sight on it. I haven't had it wander too far. And another mistake I probably did today was I thought I pressed record and it wasn't actually recording. So the whole time I thought I was recording, and then it wasn't really. So I caught that somewhere in the middle, which is no big deal. But maybe if there was some kind of, now I know where to look, because the interface has so many different numbers all over the place, and I thought that I pressed the button, but apparently it wasn't recording. So now I know what to look for, where it's I thought that it was recording. There was like a little number that said up top that it was recording, but it was actually just the amount of minutes that you've been flying, not the amount of minutes you've been recording. So I was confused there. So there was another digital display so I figured that halfway. So now I know to make sure. So that's probably a mistake you'll make in the beginning, thinking that the record button is on, but that's not it. It's the record that it's being recorded, but that's just actually the flight time, I think. So is that done? Are we done? The video's done.